Hello and welcome to the Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have a female left behind and forward-moving spouse. Her bomb drop is March 11th, 2020, and her date of marriage is 2013. She has a cleaning boomerang who is a high-energy replayer. She said, in February, my ex-husband secretly married the alienator and let her move in. Before I left the country in June, he became very close to me. He had regrets about marrying her. There was no prenup. He said he would divorce her after she gets her papers. From what I hear now, he's kept on a very short leash. He hasn't come to visit the kids. This is unlike him. I know he planned on it and he misses them. During our previous absence, he visited all the time. But then he kept his affair underground. Also, he never finalized the post-nup, though his lawyers prepared it. My understanding is that he's afraid of her. She's completely taken over his business, got his family on board, and introduces herself as his wife, which they married. She is his wife technically, not to, I know how we feel about that. But so it looks like he's the only one keeping it a secret. It seems to me like he kept it a secret when he got married. I don't know. My question is, as time passes, is he more likely to realize his mistake and pluck up the courage to end it? Or is he likely to accept the loss and stay with her? I'm no contact except business via email. Honestly, is time on my side, or is it making the relationship with the alienator more solid? She has a second piece to this question which she submitted later, so I'm going to answer this one, and then we'll go on to her next question. So, is time on your side, or is it time is on your side if you decide it is. Really, you get to choose. I don't think you're in a race. In other words, where time is running out, unless you decide, I have a limit. And we probably do have a limit, but I think that we can choose. You can choose for time to always be on your side. Is it making the relationship with the alienator more solid? Time? No. In fact, it's probably doing the opposite. It says a lot first that he had, not only he had regrets about marrying her, but I think at one point he said, he knew in the beginning that he would divorce her when she got her papers. It's always been kind of his plan. So that, before you even say he's kept on a short leash, that has already spoken to an extreme level of control. He is fully controlled by her. And look, he's submissive. He's doing whatever she says. So it's no surprise that she's taken over the business. She has taken on, hi, I'm his wife, and they had better all fall in line. She is going to be a bitch if people don't, and they talk badly about her. If they don't fall in line and treat her as his wife, there's emotional blackmail. She is going to ruin this without your help. Now, the question, one of the other questions you have, however, is he likely to accept it and stay with her? You say accept the loss and stay with her. It's not the loss of you, but it's accept, well, I guess this is what I've got now. I have to stay with it. Is he going to do that? Can't tell you, because people do it all the time. But they don't have the pull of children who are probably never going to like her. And I don't mean in the same way that you have conflict with your stepmother, but I mean that woman is enemy number one. And she's not enemy number one because she destroyed your relationship and their marriage and their parents' marriage and their life. She's enemy number one for how she is in the marriage. You can have couples who make a mistake and they have an affair. The marriages they were in break up and they get married and they stay married. And whether it's a good marriage, it doesn't mean it's a bad marriage. It doesn't mean they are not two good people. My dad was the other man. He was married to my stepmother for 29 years until his death. It wasn't a great marriage, but they weren't horrible people. Sometimes there's conflict with her, but I never not liked her. She was a really nice lady, a good person. Sure, we had issues. Everyone did with her. But everyone had issues with every person, and, there's always people's quirks. She was a good person. I liked her. I still do. I don't think she knows that, and sometimes I have conflict with it, but I don't see this with this one. This is that bitch that my dad married, that other woman. She's always going to have that role because of she's continuing to play that role. She's in control. She doesn't like other people. She has to be first. It's all about her. What is he going to do about that? You just have to give him time. You really do. And you see how it plays out. See where it is in 5 years. See where it is in 2 years, hopefully. You'll know in 15 years if it's not over. Well, he might get it over, but you've probably moved forward, probably in 10. And you never know. But you just need to sit back. You set up your boundaries. And you can talk to him eventually and say, you know what? You made this bad, dude. You know you had it good. And you know you can end this thing over there at any time. You need to stop. And at some point, he might think, I can't end it because I don't have you anymore. Maybe you will have moved on. And you need to then tell him, you know what? Your life is going to be better off without her, even if I'm not an option. Now, before that, you are an option, maybe. And so obviously, but someday, maybe that will be one of the excuses he uses is, well, I just have to have somebody. It's like, and you know what? No matter what, he still has you in his life because you're the mother of his children. And you still get along with him. You know what? I'm still here as your friend. And it hurts me to see my friend in that toxic environment, in that toxic relationship being abused by her. I don't know that he'll stay that long or not. Chuck isn't, a person that I always see as the greatest strength when it comes. He's not an alpha, but it wasn't a long midlife crisis, and a big part of that was probably because I was there. I was there. I was his friend. I was always the pull on the other side, something to compare to. It's not a contest, but he could compare it to. And the pull of me apparently was strong enough because he kept coming back. So I like no contact, and because he can abuse it. But at some point, I still want you to be putting out smart contact every few months or whatever, just to keep him knowing that you are still there. Now, let's go on to your next question also, because I like what it's a good question. I like what you're asking, and I like your idea. So she says, well, he just emailed me last night saying he wants to visit, but he won't stay in our house to make sure everyone is comfortable. He wants to take the kids on Sunday to his aunt's house, which is 3 hours away. And he wants to bring them back on Tuesday. It's ridiculously short for a visit since he's flying 10 hours from New York. But I understand this is to keep up appearances and for his conscience, and not really about spending quality times with the kids. Also, my youngest says he's anxious to go with his dad. Should I offer to leave for a week so that he can spend a reasonable amount of time with them? Or should I just convince my little one to go for those 2 nights and pretend all of this makes sense? I'm shocked that he doesn't want to stay at the house. I know he loves being here. Well, a few things. First thing, yeah, go ahead, make that offer. It's a lovely offer. And the reason I say it is I'm not trying to enable, but I want him to be able to, encouraged to have that quality time with the children and you seeing that. Also, if he loves being there, there's a bonus in that. I loved it when Chuck would come over and spend time at the house. He'd do it while I was at work, and he didn't think I knew about it. Come on, really. He'd come over and he got his Tiamo pets, our German Shepherd, and he got to hang out with Catastrophe, our kitty, before she died. And he was comfortable at home. It was his home base where you are comfortable. And so part of why I felt he kept returning is he had a home to return to. And home is the feeling that you have in that space. So I like that. I also want you to look at it in a different way about him wanting to take his kids to aunts and it's only 2 days. Forget about the appearances thing. Is it really... It might be about keeping up appearances, but it might be about quality time, and he doesn't want to be intrusive to you, which is why he might say no to your offer. He doesn't want to be uncomfortable. He doesn't want other people to feel awkward with it. Maybe he doesn't want to have to explain it. Yeah, I stayed at my ex-wife's house. So change your attitude a little bit and just be really bright and cheery about them going to the aunts if that's what he chooses. And be happy for your son and say, it's going to be so much fun with auntie. And dad's going to be there, and you get to go see family and spend time, because that might be special and important too. It's not a long time. You spend it, but is it better than no time at all? And that's really the key right there, is just time. So make your offer, and if he turns you down, instead of trying to swing it as like, oh, he's just trying to, he's being fake, inauthentic, maybe he is. But I want your attitude to simply be, I'm so glad you're spending time with the kids, and tell the kids you get to spend time with Daddy. He is flying all that way to be with them. Yeah, for only 2 days. Wow, what a commitment. That, some people would say, well, it's only 2 days, I don't have that, so I'm not going to do it at all. He cares about them so much that even if he only has 2 days available, he'll fly that far to be with them. That means a lot. Okay? Let us know how it goes. And I will see everybody else in the next question.